Welcome, everybody, to tonight's NSA Connects session and defining the narrative and defying the narrative. We have two wonderful facilitators and hosts tonight who are going to share their enthusiasm and their expertise with us. Before we get officially started, let me just quickly go over our ground rules for the evening. We ask everybody to keep their microphones on mute unless you are speaking. When it comes time to speak, you can let us know that you'd like to, one of two ways: either physically raise your hand, or you can use the icon on the bottom of the tray, which is the sixth one from the from the right, where it's raise hand. And you'll see, just click on that and you'll see the raise hand function. And then there is another one for to lower the hand. Somebody just asked what the star is for, and I'm going to let Sarah explain what that is, and then we're going to officially get started. Sarah?
Awesome. Thank you, Pam. Hi there. Hi there. Hi there. Hi there, everyone. Adam, perfect as a segue for me. So you should have gotten an email from me a couple of hours ago, just kind of giving you a heads up. One thing that we are starting to implement in our NSA Connect sessions is just a new safety policy, just to make sure that everyone is who they say they are. We've heard about some Zoom bombing happening with other organizations. And so we're basically starting just this camera check policy. And it's totally fine if during the meeting you want to turn your camera back off. I know a lot of people like to just, listen, make dinner, whatever. We totally get that. But we're just asking that for the very start of the meeting, you turn your camera on. The star is to show that I've checked. So if you have a star by your name, you are free to turn your camera off if you want to. And if you don't have a star yet, you haven't turned your camera on, I'm just going to ask that you turn your camera on for a moment so I can check you. And once you're good to go, you can go back to just listening, whatever, that's totally fine. And if anyone has any questions, you can definitely message me in the chat. And we just really appreciate everyone's understanding and cooperation. And we just really want to make sure that our NSA online spaces are safe and welcoming for everybody. So if you haven't put your camera on yet, I'd love it if you could do that for a minute just so I can check you. So thank you. I see a lot of people are turning it on for me. Thank you so much.
All
Thanks.
right. Great. Thank you, Sarah, for explaining that. I am really excited about tonight's session. I am going to turn it over to our facilitators and ask them to introduce themselves to us. And we'll start with John.
Well, hi, everybody. It's good to see you all here. I'm very happy you all are here. I joined the NSA in the mid 80s. I'm a longtime member. I'm a psychology professor. I'm a psychologist as well. And I will leave it at that. Sebastian, would you like to introduce yourself?
Surely. I'm Sebastian Scala, and I've been with the NSP, the NSA, since 1988. I live in San Francisco. I own my own cocktail lounge in the heart of the city. I coach youth sports. I love writing, speaking. I'm really excited. I was looking at the list over here. I see a lot of familiar faces. I see some new faces, and I'm just really excited to share tonight with all of you. And thank you, by the way, for choosing to come here. I know it's the holiday season and everything else, and spending your valuable time listening to our workshop.
Thank you both. And before we officially get started, I also just want to let folks know that John and Sebastian have worked in a couple of breakout rooms for discussion so that we can be sure that everybody that would like to participate has the opportunity to do so in small breakout rooms. So they will let us know when it's time to do that. And John will take care of assigning that. But for now, enjoy tonight's session. We're really excited about it. And take it away, John.
Yeah, here out. I just I'm going to share the slides on the screen. 1 second here, guys. Are the slides appearing on your end? Okay. Here we will do this. Okay. It always scares me when the screen is blank. A moment or two. Yeah, the basic idea we're going to be working with, which I expect we all we just intuitively we know this and impacts our lives. We'll be focusing on the stories we have about ourselves. And the research really indicates the story we have of ourselves, the self-talk that we use. Really affects our emotional state, obviously. It also affects what we do, which we'll be looking at a little bit more here. So, essentially, in part, we operate with the large stories of our lives. If we mentally scan our whole life, we have a certain story we've created. We also operate with the small stories, more like the trends in baseball or football. What's been happening recently, and whether it seems like we're in the groove or not. The basic implication of this is that it's a story we have of ourselves. The basic narrative we operate with is that as usually we're successful, even if the circumstances are challenging, we're usually able to handle it. Chances are it means we're going to take more risk. Chances are it means we won't be as flustered or stuck if we are struggling somewhat. And also the flip side of if the story we have is negative, probably means we'll be less likely to step out and try new things. One of the most, in my mind, one of the most interesting, the most important studies in psychology looked at individuals who were scared to death of roller coasters, and contrasted them with individuals who just loved to be on scary rides. The people in the study were hooked up to physiological measures of stress. People's heart rate was measured, the person's breathing, the person's skin sweating, and so forth. And what the researchers expected to find is that, because on the ride itself, the people who viewed it as scary would experience a higher stress response, would be more scared. In fact, what the study showed is that the physiological measurements of anxiety were exactly the same between the two groups. The big difference, however, the people who were scared of the ride would stop and they say, "Oh, my legs are shaking. simply was awful. The people who liked the rides, the person's legs would be shaking, and they said, "Oh, it was a rush. It was great." The basic message of this is it makes all the difference in the world how we interpret our experience. Um, with stress, seems like the basic message we often hear about anxiety and stress is that essentially stress is bad. The more stressed we are, the worse it is. It's a negative thing. The research on stress is very interesting. Stress, the research indicates, it's only negative if we believe it's negative. Stress actually is pretty adaptive. At the physiological level, it helps our bodies to be prepared. Of course, it needs to be within a reasonable level. If we're in the midst of a panic attack, it isn't the case. But broadly speaking, though, if we're able to view stress as simply appropriate, it's helping us to be prepared. The same as with sports, you don't want the football players to be mellow before the game starts. We're much more likely to handle it more effectively. A side note here, the way we interpret emotions, it operates in many realms of our life. With love, with romantic attraction. Often anxiety, often the waiting for the phone to ring. It's often confused with attraction. It actually is anxiety. It actually is kind of a slippery slope there. With the stories we have about ourselves, with our self-talk, it obviously happens at a conscious level where we hear our self-talk. It also operates at a level which is kind of which we aren't often conscious of. And
John, can I just jump in? Are you advancing the
please.
slides?
Yes, I am.
Okay, because
Are the slides not being advanced?
no, we're still seeing just the first slide.
Oh, shoot. I am glad you said that. Here, let me shoot. Oh, here. Hold on one moment. I'm going to exit out of this. I apologize here. 1 second here.
That's okay.
I am not sure what happened.
No
Okay.
problem.
I'm assuming the screen is blank on your end now.
No, we can see the screen. It's just that the slides weren't advancing. So you were
The slides
speaking,
weren't advancing.
but the slides hadn't caught up to where you were. So
Okay.
we can see the slide now where it says narratives often sneak in.
Yeah, which is where
And
you're able to see this now,
yes.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
No
it
problem.
seems like we're the problem solved then.
Correct.
Well, I'm glad you said that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You guys have heard of the Scared Straight program, I'm sure. That's where youth who are deemed to be at risk of committing crimes will be sent to spend a day in prison to see the horrors of prison life and essentially to be scared straight. It seems like it's a great idea. The research on this indicates it dramatically increases the rate of crime among the people who are involved in the program. The reason why, when it's been studied, is that because before the program, the kids will look at themselves and say, "Hey, I realize my circumstances perhaps aren't the best in the world. It seems like I'm making it. And after the program, after the Scared Straight program, the kids looked at themselves and they said, the people in authority, people who know stuff, are seeing me as a criminal in banking. I'm a criminal in banking. The basic idea here is that it's often the stories we have about ourselves sneak in without us realizing it. And I simply would ask us to perhaps reflect on the narrative we might have with our stuttering, which is snuck in. Yeah, I'm simply asking you guys to reflect a little bit more. I'll ask you to simply to pause, and as we're working with all the concepts here, just have in mind the stories you had about yourself when you were younger, about yourself and your stuttering, also what your stories are now. Perhaps, and probably the most important part, is what are the samples of stories about ourselves now which aren't helpful, which are problematic. Seems like with me, it often is more subtle. When I was younger, the story was I was afraid I would become homeless. And now I realize I'm not likely to be homeless. I'm able to be reasonably successful. More is in small ways the narrative will be stuck or problematic. So, to switch the focus a bit, so hopefully it's pretty clear that the stories we have about ourselves, the language we use about ourselves is pretty important. But the question becomes, how do we change it when the story isn't helpful? One specific way is called externalizing. And often what happens, which really usually results in us being more stuck or feeling more stuck, is often we fuse ourselves with the problem. It feels like if we look at stuttering as a problem, we are problem then. The basic idea here is that if we externalize ourselves from the problem, of course we have it, of course it operates, but a mantra in this approach is that the person is not the problem is a problem. And therefore, to simply ask ourselves or muse about perhaps questions like, what are the ways in which the problem is interfering with my life right now? Instead of I myself am the problem. At the practical level, it often is very helpful to focus our attention on when exceptions are happening. In psychology, one of the principles is known as the spotlight effect. It simply means what we focus our attention on usually expands. It expands in our mind, but also at the practical level, it expands. Where our attention is focused is on successes, typically we start having more of those. If where our attention is focused is on the problems and stuckness, because we're looking there, it simply is much easier to stay stuck. Yeah. With self-talk, lots and lots of books have been written about self-talk. all sections of the bookstore. The core principles in good self-talk are these two things. One, to be compassionate with our self-talk. And two, broadly speaking, affirmations are not all that helpful. Asking ourselves useful questions, the research indicates, is much more helpful. And we'll look at both of these a bit here. Much of psychology, it seems like operates as a paradox. And one of the paradoxes, which I think is most important, especially with stuttering, is that the more we accept ourselves, the more likely we are to change. Acceptance prompts change. Now the reason is that to change anything, we need to be able to look at ourselves clearly. If we're not accepting of ourselves, if we're frustrated with ourselves, perhaps if we're disgusted with ourselves, really it's hard to have our eyes open, as it were. If our eyes aren't open, we can't work on changing. It's interesting, the research on diets. The more a person is accepting of their current weight, the more likely the person is to lose weight. With stuttering, is the same thing. Seems like one of the things we often hear is that it'd be helpful if we just look in the mirror and repeat affirmations or tell ourselves what we want to be, perhaps in the present tense. If we do this, we'll manifest it. If we say it with confidence, we're able to make it happen. The research on this indicates that usually what happens is it backfires. If it rings hollow with us, if we know what we're saying isn't true, it isn't helpful, and it simply reminds us of the ways in which we're lacking. What is more helpful, though, and what the research indicates has a lot of effectiveness, is simply asking ourselves useful questions. The research on this is pretty amazing, actually. If we ask ourselves a question, usually, most of the time, we have an accurate answer. If we ask ourselves, what would be helpful to do here? If we simply stop and question ourselves and ask ourselves, usually we're able to have a really useful answer. What am I missing with this, with the picture? When we feel stuck, perhaps asking ourselves, what's another perspective on this? We all have blind spots, simply as part of being human. The research indicates if we simply ask ourselves what our blind spots are, we become aware of our blind spots. Basic idea here is to, we're much more likely to be effective if we're asking ourselves a lot of questions. So, it seems like I'm assuming we all hopefully have experience in the NSA. The feeling of support, the feeling of realizing others are struggling with exactly the same thing. And the feeling of acceptance. And the basic message is that to make progress, whatever it is, it isn't our fault. It is our responsibility to manage it the best we can. So, speaking of questions, one of the most useful questions we can ask ourselves if we're stuck, if we're struggling, if a person you know well, if a good friend of yours, a person you really respect, we're struggling with the same thing, what would you want the person to understand? What would you do to encourage the person or to comfort the person? Perhaps another way of saying it, more straightforward. If somebody else were struggling with what you're struggling with, what would you say to them? And for the many years when I practiced as a psychologist, that was a question I asked over and over and over again. Invariably, the person's answer was one, it was honest. It wasn't avoiding the issue or making things up. Also, the person's answer was compassion. It seems like the self-talk with themselves. It's often much easier to be supportive of a friend than to be supportive of ourselves, and essentially to use the same language with ourselves we would use with a friend. So, but to sum up here, with their self-talk, wonderful metaphor, is in some ways we're the captain of the ship. If you're the captain of the ship and the storm hits, the storms hit in our lives, if we're struggling with our speech more, certainly with stuttering, cyclical, it's up at times, down at times, it is stormy at times. If you're the captain of the ship, you assure the passengers, you wouldn't criticize the passengers if they're scared. And also you would handle the situation with our self-talk with ourselves, to view ourselves with compassion, and also to handle the situation as best we can. So, yeah. What I'd like to do here is in a moment to break everybody into small groups here. Simply ask you guys to spend a few minutes and think of an instance, perhaps a period when it felt like you weren't handling your speech or stuttering well, and to think of the story that you were using, and also in contrast, to picture an instance or a period in your life when you were managing your speech well and what the narrative was, and explore the differences. Perhaps most importantly, is what the areas in our life where the story isn't being supportive. What are the changes we can make to make the story more compassionate, more supportive of ourselves? So, as a basic idea of the questions, basic ideas clear and understandable? I'm assuming. Okay. I will, one moment here. I will, we'll change the screen here and we will we'll start the breakouts in a moment here. What I will also mention is in the chat feature, I will post other questions. So, all right. Oh, what I will also mention, the breakouts will not be recorded. So, you don't have to worry about that. So here goes. Hey, Pam. Any concerns, or is it?
No, I think it's
Is it
fine
okay so far?
Yeah, I think it's fine so far. Yeah. So how long were you planning to have this breakout room last?
In the range of 5 minutes or
Okay.
so.
Okay. All right, good,
How
good.
would that sound?
That sounds fine. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Okay, I was just looking on the bottom of the screen where there was where there was a number sign, and it's just showing me that the breakout rooms are enabled. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That's good to hear. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Thanks, sir. I'm going to look at the chat and see what was. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It looks like it's
Yep.
essentially about the slides.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So yeah, we're doing this new security thing because
Right.
did have an unfortunate Zoom bombing
Yeah.
incident not too long ago. So we want to make sure that that doesn't happen again because
Oh, sure.
it's very off-putting.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's supposed to be a family space here.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So will you be going back to the slide deck?
Probably not.
Okay.
No.
Because
Because after this, will be Sebastian.
okay, and is he
So
using a deck?
no, no.
Okay. All right.
He's
Because
not using slides.
yeah, I was just curious because yeah, there's a couple more people. Hey, Travis. We are in breakout rooms, so that's why you're not seeing very many people on the screen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Would you like to be in a breakout room, Travis?
Sure. Or I mean, I can also wait till everybody comes back.
Yeah.
Well, either way would be
kinda
fine
late.
with us. So
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Cliff. Hey, good to see you. You're on mute, just so you know.
yeah. And Cliff, if you'd like
There we
to
go.
be in a breakout group, we can do that. Or if you'd rather not, we can not.
What was that? No, I'm sorry. What was that, John?
If you'd like to be in one of the breakout groups, you can. We can assign you, or if you'd rather not.
I don't care. What are you guys doing? Just staying in the big group or staying in the big?
Yeah.
Okay. So You mentioned there's some more people coming in, or is that what's or the breakout groups are going on now? Is that what's going on? Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha, gotcha.
The
I got you.
breakout
I just
groups
didn't
are
know how it
going
worked. Okay,
on now.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice to
Yeah.
meet you too, John. I don't know if we've ever met.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm
It's good
Cliff.
to meet you, Cliff.
Yeah, you too. Where do you live, John?
I, I live in Lawrence, Kansas.
Okay, cool, man.
Yeah.
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. So
Okay.
probably tell
Okay.
from the accent, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
You're
Well,
to
the
get
accent is great. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Uh,
It's a drawl, definitely. But
uh,
it's nice to meet you, man.
well, you too. And then Gloria is as a member of your chapter, I think.
Yeah, I haven't been to the Atlanta chapter. I
Oh,
used to
okay.
be, I'm telling you how long I've been around now, but from 1995 to 98, I was actually the president of the Atlanta chapter.
Okay.
So I was back there
Good
when
for you.
back when Tammy first came on board in
Yeah.
1996, I guess. So Tammy and I go way back, and then, Andy Bradbury, but I stopped being involved in about 1999 because life happened.
Sure. Yes. It
Changed
does
jobs.
happen.
And then I just was fortunate enough to be able to retire not too long ago, and so I've gotten back into it. So I'm very, very happy to be back involved with everything. It's really nice.
Yeah. On Travis, I would
Good to
agree.
meet you. Yeah, yeah.
Gloria
Happy to do
is
that.
the best.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to one of the meetings. And I can't think
Mhm.
of the other gentleman's name. There's a guy named I can't think of who it is. I've got it written down. Yeah, I need to attend a meeting probably.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Well,
I
it's
think
really
I'm
nice
going
to
to.
see you here tonight, Cliff. It's really nice to see you here. I don't
Yeah,
recall
Pam, thank
seeing.
you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I don't.
Pam. I know. I really have
I,
enjoyed. John, I just started going to Stutter's social. I guess it's been almost a year now. I think it was in
Yeah.
February. Travis will probably know better on the time, but I've been there almost a year, I think. But I really enjoy that. It's a great, great group.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Guys, a good group. I had the best time with those folks. I mean, there's so many different voices, and we
Hmm.
just feed off each other. And it's
Hmm.
good chemistry in that group.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think anybody that stutters is going to have good chemistry. I've never known anyone.
Right.
I mean, we're
Yeah.
kind of fortunate to have something that's really, that we all do really differently, but we all have the exact
Right.
same feelings and thoughts about it. I mean, I've never known,
Mhm.
very, very many people to deviate from the normal thoughts of people who stutter. I mean, we
Right.
get it. So, yeah, it's good to be here, Pam. I call her the Queen of Toastmasters.
Mm.
Because Pam, didn't you win? I mean, you won like an award, like a huge award, right?
I
I'm
have.
putting you on the spot. I'm sorry, Pam. I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, that's okay. I didn't win an award, but I got
I mean, you got like
like
a
my distinguished Toastmaster.
okay,
Like I
okay,
Well, good
completed
for you.
the entire program as the only person in my club that stuttered, and
yeah, that's
Mhm.
amazing. Yeah,
yeah, that was pretty awesome. That I have to say that was pretty
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
It
Pam.
was
I'll
a
be
big
honest.
deal.
That's got me very interested in trying to find one here in Atlanta. I think there probably is one.
I'm sure
I
there's more
think I
than
would
one.
love to try that. I mean, I've never tried it. I've been told I should, and I never have, but I think I'm gonna try it.
Yeah. You definitely should. John, do you want
Yeah, I
to
was looking at the
bring people
time.
back? Because
Yeah,
Sarah
I will
is
do that right now.
in one of the groups
I'm
and
good.
she's trying to verify Travis and Cliff, and she can't from the breakout room. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I'm closing the groups and everybody will be back.
Okay,
We'll be
great.
back within a minute.
Okay,
So,
great. Yeah, and I see the breakdown of, okay, so you had 5 breakout rooms. Oh, okay, great.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
People are coming back. All right.
about a half a minute more and yeah.
Okay. Sarah, we just had Travis and Cliff Holt join us. So Sarah is just verifying, and you will soon both have a star next to your name.
Awesome. Hi, guys. Thank you. You guys are stars. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Hey, nice to be here.
Yeah, ditto. Thanks for being here.
Well, guys, it looks like we're all back now. Before I switch it over, can Sebastian host for a while? I just wondered if anybody had any observations or feedback you'd like to share with the full group here. Feel free simply to speak up if you do.
Tamika?
Hi, how are you all?
Hey.
It's been a long journey for me. Mine started when I was in elementary school, and I used to talk with my tongue, and it took me a long time from grade school to junior high to elementary. I used to get picked on. I used to get called stutter face. I used to get called all kind of names, and I notice now my children are stuttering, both of them. And they have speech problems, and then sometimes I get tongue tied or stuttered or whatever. And I teach them what they taught me is when I learned how to talk one word at a time, because that was hard for me when I had a stuttering problem and talking with my tongue. And sometimes I go through that and I embarrass myself sometimes. So sometimes I just shut down, but this is my first year connecting with the NSA program. I met two of the young ladies. We were at the on Burdish Street. Michelle Johnson, if you guys know her, Rita, Mia, all of them. We've all been connected for years, and I was talking to one of the girls, and she invited me to come to one of the meetings at the library when I was able to come. So I'm glad to be able to come and listen in and and get give little bits of feedback and stuff. But one of the guys that was talking in the room, to make it short, my mom was the one that told me that Moses used to stutter. I never knew that when we were growing up, that Moses in the Bible had stuttering problem. So I'm taking it one day at a time, but it comes and it goes, but I just
Sure.
take it one day at a time, so but
Yeah.
I'm glad to be connected with this NSA, and I hope that I'm able to stay connected with you guys and learn more stuff. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for
Yeah.
joining us, Tamika.
So it's wonderful to have you here. Anybody else, sir?
Yeah, I wanted to say something, Sam. Yeah, thanks to everyone for joining our breakout room. It was actually a great discussion. Something I recently started to work with a new speech therapist that focused on freedom speech instead of fluency, which I worked years ago, which helped me to some the degree, but it kept me hostage to the fear. I'm constantly in fear. And I'm constantly watching over my words. And he started pushing me to do everyday voluntary stuttering. And I'm seeing a difference and feeling better. At one point, I asked him, maybe I should. One of my fears are that people don't understand me. So I thought of something wild. I made a call to my investment bank to whatever, switch things around. And I decided I'm going to start through heavily the whole discussion and I'm gonna see if he understands what I'm asking for. You know, if he'll ask what, but no, actually, he didn't even ask me even once. So, and I wondered, like, what does that mean? Like, in my mind, people don't understand me, and I have to. So yeah, so it's interesting work, and I got to work to feel better. And that's what I'm here for. That's John. Great discussion. A lot of research points. I love research. I do a lot of research on.
Me too.
Yeah, great research. I love how you have everything backed up in research. Thank you.
Thank you. It's great having you here, Sam. And yeah, and I commend you for experimenting with it.
Yeah, some sort of experiment.
Experimenting when real money was on the line.
Yeah.
With the phone call. Perhaps one more person, and then we'll just let Sebastian take over. But anybody else, if you'd like to speak up?
Yeah, I just want.
Please feel.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted
Hey,
to add
Conrad.
that. Hello. I just wanted to add that it seems like it's how like a theme was like people are going to think blank about me, you know, and you can put your word in there, and that's powerful. And I just, you know, to get to a place where that's less powerful would be good.
Yeah, yeah. It is interesting because it seems like usually we assume the negative. And I still remember this. The first NSA convention, which I attended, what just overwhelmed me, it still has an impact when I think about it, was seeing the courage of everybody in the room. So, yeah. Yeah. I really appreciate that, Conrad. Thank you. Yeah. Well, Sebastian, would you mind if I switch it over to you, sir?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, you can see, everybody can see me, right? Want to start by talking about the title, Defining the Narrative, Defying the Narrative. Let me just define it. In my opinion, the narrative is every person, and from the time we were very young and our little eyes looked up at them, they were the ones telling us what we could do, and more importantly, what we could not do, right? How many, Shad Helmstetter, in his book about self-talk, he said, from the time we're born to the time we turn 18, we've heard the word no 100,000 times. We are so adept and so aware of what we are perceived we cannot do. So I want to ask a rhetorical question to everybody here. What do you want your life to look like? And if you're happy the way you are, then you're in a perfect example of what we're talking about and an inspiration for all of us here. I think it's very, very, very important that we look at that question. What do we want our life to look like? And if we're not there, how do we get there? And that's what I'm here for. We hear no and no and no. And what does no do? No creates fear. And fear is this paralysis. Fear is this limiting thing that stops us in our track. It's this, it's so impeding. But the funny thing is about fear, and when you really think about it, fear is almost always a futuristic event. We're afraid this could happen. We're afraid of that could happen. We're afraid of anything and everything that could possibly happen. Well, there's 31 people in this room right now. You know what? Well, I think we could all agree that life is pretty tough in the here and now. We don't need to add about the possibilities, of what could happen and what could not happen. You know, fear as a very young person, I was so blessed to be in our breakout group with 2 veterans, people that I've known, and we've gone to conventions together, and 2 rookies, 2 people I'd never met before until we had the breakout room, because it was a great dichotomy. And one of the things that I really wanted to stress is, you know, how fear and how stuttering ran my life at a very, very young age. And I'm going to be very vulnerable in front of all of you. I want to tell you my story. You know, my mother came here on a boat from Havana, Cuba, you know, at 14 years old. She settled in New York. She met my father. My father and them got married at 19, like kids did back in the day, had 7 kids, right? We were in abject poverty, welfare, you know, foster homes, because 20-year-old kids can't, you know, 20-year-old mom and dads can't support 6 mouths and then 7 mouths, right? And my narrative was pounded home of what I could not do. As I got older, stuttering made every decision for me. Stuttering chose who I dated. Hell, if her name was Debbie Burns, there was no way. Sorry, I'll go out with Rita Smith. Made every decision for me. You know, I live in San Francisco, and I look out my window and I see Alcatraz. And for many, many, many years, I looked at Alcatraz as a metaphor that, like, how stuttering imprisoned me. Stuttering was my Alcatraz. And I could, you know, I could do so well. I could do so well in school. I could do so well in whatever. And it was always, yeah, but I stutter. Yeah, but I stutter. And it was this scarlet letter that was hanging over me. And why was that? You know, it was that narrative. And I really believe that, like, in life, we're trying to become who we are. We hear these voices and opinions and people that we give credence and credibility to, and quite often we allow them, we surrender our enormity and allow them to make the decisions for us. You know, there's a funny thing I often say. When you want to do something more than you're afraid to do something, you will do something. Let's say, you know, you're interested in that cutie in your class or whatever, right? When you decide you want to ask her out more than you're afraid to, you're going to do it. And I think it's so important that it doesn't matter. Everybody's overcoming something, right? Everybody, it's the cover charge of human existence. You could have anybody in this room right now, fluent or non-fluent, and they would get something out of it, because we're all struggling to achieve. We're all working at overcoming something. We all hopefully want to be better versions of ourselves. So I was confused and I was lost. And, you know, a lot of people will say when they see a therapist, they were driven to therapy, right? They were driven to, like, something so bad happened, they were driven to it. I had a situation where, you know, my speech was so bad that I finally went at 22 years old to go see a speech therapist. And the speech therapist told me about the NSA. And I remember I was living in San Diego. I was 23 years old, and I got in my freaking Nissan hardbody, and I drove from San Diego to Houston. It was just this rites of passage trip, and it was incredible. And it was truly life-changing. And I really want to, what I was blown away from, and how many people in here are on the younger end, under 40? You have to raise your hand. You know who you are, right? The thing, and I'm leaning in on this one, guys. And if Pam Mertz has been on my workshop. Pam, if there was a workshop right now, I'd be standing on the table. One of the most powerful things that I saw at a workshop, at any convention, at any conference, at any year, was that the conferences and the conventions were a segment of society. Every what's the word I'm looking for? Every aspect of society was represented. You had young people, you had old people, you had black people, you had white people, you had Asian people, you had Hispanic people, you had doctors and lawyers and farmers and teachers and restaurant workers and CEOs. You had all these people. So all of a sudden, my excuse for not being the person that I wanted to become was null and void, because right over there, 5 seats over from me, that guy was doing what I wanted to do. So how could I get to that point? Now, why do I speak so passionately and so about this? Because I believe it. Those 2 guys that were in my breakout room, with Honor and Malik, I looked at them and I said, hey, I'm from your future. Okay, where you're from and the situations that happen when you were a child and a young adult doesn't dictate where you're going and where you're going to be. And I really want to pound that home. That right there in that room, the glass ceiling was broken. Politics aside, did you ever imagine in your lifetime that the president of the United States would be a person who stutters? The glass ceiling, everything, every possibility is open to us. We need to remove the glasses, remove everything, and realize that it's possible, because it's been done, and it's been done by people in this room. So I get a little excited sometimes, sorry. So what changed? What changed with me? And I've written down a few things about what changed. And I think the big thing is taking action, not talking. People talk all day long. Taking action, always moving forward. There's this great fitness instructor, social maven, fellow Cubana, Robin Artzon. And Robin Artzon does like these 100-mile races. And she says, man, mile 60, I'm so done. She goes, but you know what I do? I just put one step forward. I just put one step forward. And as long as you're moving forward, that's the thing. Taking action, moving forward. Another big thing that I have preached tremendously to myself and to others is we need to get out of our heads and into the world. The magic happens when you're out there, when you're mingling, when you're talking to people, when you're taking chances and you're risking. When you're in your room all by yourself, those 4 walls come caving in on you. Another one, and I think it's so important, and this is, I mean, they're all important, but this one's a big one. Get really good at whatever you do. Get really good. Commit it. If you decide that you're going to wait tables, be the freaking greatest freaking waiter around. Know the menu inside and out. If you decide you want to be an engineer, become the best freaking engineer. And here's the funny thing. Here's our competitive edge. Here's where stutterers kick ass over everybody else, is that it is in our DNA to work harder. To have a conversation takes more work for us. And conversations happen all the time, as easy as we breathe. Right? It's in our DNA. So get really good at something. Choose that something and get really good at it. Another thing that's helped me tremendously, and John is a friend of mine. You go to these conferences, you go to these workshops, you go to these connect. How funny. What's the word connect mean? Connect is a bridge that unites. Connect is the connection. And I talk about the power of prepositions always. And is the greatest preposition because it unites. It connects. Right? What this does here, or a convention, buddy up with somebody. Because you might go back to your hometown, and yeah, you might join a group, but there are very few people who know this struggle. There are very few people. I own a cocktail lounge in San Francisco, and I am visible, and I am out there, and I am behind the bar and the front of the bar, checking. I do everything. And when I meet somebody who stutters, man, I feel like even this good person's a stranger. We are so connected. We are so bonded. It's a brotherhood. It's a fraternity. And that's from a total stranger, because this is intimate. So buddy up. You go to these conventions with 700 people, meet somebody and have, and not just vent, celebrate. You took a risk. Can't even read my own writing anymore. Plus, a dramatic pause is great. Oh, this is a great one. Be easy on yourself. Forgive yourself. You know, it's so easy for us to beat up ourselves. If we were to ask ourselves, you know, what is it that you don't like about yourself? You could go a litany of things. What do you love about yourself? And people scratch their head and they kind of think. Be easy on yourself. Forgive yourself. You know, but at the same time, keep proceeding, keep moving, take action. And then we talked about it earlier. John talked about it earlier. Your self-talk is absolutely amazing. Is absolutely amazing, and it can be the greatest thing in the world, or the thing that inhibits you and stops you and impedes you. That's the impediment. The self-talk impediment, or I'm just this, or I'm just that, or I'm no good at that, right? Don't be afraid to be enormous. Don't be afraid to jump into your gigantitude. Yeah. Self-talk. I'm gonna let that one linger. You know, this person once said, she said, the longest relationship you'll ever have with another human being is with yourself. So get to love yourself and be good to yourself. Treat yourself. Another thing I'm a huge fan of, take care of your body and take care of your mind. Take care of your body. You know, that's your temple. And we're all on our own path. The competition isn't me versus you. The competition is me versus me. Me being better than I used to be. And taking care of your body, taking care of your mind is saying, I love me, I matter. And I'm going to invest in this vessel to be the best vessel I can be. And, you know, I want to talk about habits. You know, your habits will become your habitat, right? You want to work on your spirituality, all of a sudden you might be living in a church, spending a lot of time, right? You want to invest in your health. Your habitat might become the gym. You want to invest in your education. Your habitat might become the university, the college. Your habits create your habitat. Choose that habit and make it good, make it healthy. You know, and with that, you know, and the NSA is such a great form of this. And I love the word connects. And I don't know who chose the word NSA Connects, but I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them. That is the beauty of the NSA Connects is that you're right here. You have an opportunity to surround yourself with incredible people, which is my next point. Surround yourself with incredible people. Surround yourself with people who are going to elevate you. Surround yourself with people that are going to be rooting for you. You know, and there are wins in everything. I'm going to tell you a quick story. So I'm a Christmas guy. My wife's a Christmas guy, a Christmas girl. Sorry. And last year she wanted to make these wreaths, and she, you know, went on and did the whole wreaths and everything else, right? And man, did she fail. She didn't just fail, she failed spectacularly. But you know what that failure did? It motivated her. And this year, I wish I was doing the workshop from the bar because you would just see these wreaths and these feathers and these boas, and it's so freaking beautiful. And she didn't let that loss stop her, that perceived loss. And even in those times, in those situations where you feel like you failed. So I coach youth sports, right? And it was really funny because like I was thinking about it earlier, when I first got into coaching youth sports, I was like, who remembers being 12 years old? Raise your hand. Anybody remember being 12 years old? Anybody? 10, 8, 7? What are they going to do? They're going to laugh at you. And they're going to make fun of your name. They're going to make fun of your four eyes. They're going to make fun of your freckles. And if you stutter, they're going to make fun of your stuttering, right? So anyway, I decided to coach because I wanted to coach more than I was afraid of coaching. I really want to put that out there. I wanted to coach more than I was afraid of coaching. So I got into coaching and it turned out to be the greatest freaking thing ever. And I love it. And now I lost my train of thought, but it was really great. And I really loved coaching. And even in our losses, there were always, even in our losses, there's always wins. There's always, you can always pick the win. Somebody wrote here earlier, the little star came out, that they have an interview tomorrow, right? Don't know who that was, right? But there's always, and I want to explain this. There was this game that we lost, right? And I was irritated. We shouldn't have lost it, right? But we lost it. And I remember there was a play where the pitcher threw the ball, the catcher couldn't find it, the runner's running to first base. I had told my second baseman forever, make sure to back up first base on that play. Well, the catcher drops it, air mails it over the first baseman's head. The second baseman, my guy, is there. He catches it, and he runs to first base, and he gets him out. And he runs right into my arms from his centrifugal force or whatever it was. And I just gave him the biggest hug, and I looked at his parents and said, take him out tonight, because he got it. And even though it was a loss, even though we lost that game, within that loss was victories, were big wins. Let's say tomorrow you don't get the job. Guess what? You showed up, you were confident, and you got something out of it. And those are the steps you take. Those are the action. That's that 60-mile step. And that's how you defy the narrative. I mean, I had people my whole life telling me what I could not do. What I could not do. And the worst part about it is, and for every young person in here, and anybody who's young, and I define young as anybody younger than me. Anybody that's young, don't listen to them. Everything in my life, I wish I would have just done a little earlier. And this is the most powerful thing, and I said it earlier. I wish we could open this up for humanity, because stuttering is just the example. Everybody, everywhere is overcoming something. It's like I said earlier, it's the cover charge to the human condition. Okay? We're all doing it. And just because ours is a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more exposed, that doesn't mean we have to just, hightail it in. I never thought, coming from where I came from, that I would have the life that I have. And I'm telling you guys right here, right now, that I cannot believe it. And I went from being, like I said, in foster homes, on welfare, everything else, to I graduated from college with a degree in communications. I worked in sales. I bartended in restaurants. I managed yacht clubs and private clubs. I invested in restaurants. I started public speaking. I bought a 92-year-old cocktail lounge. I started coaching youth sports. I met the love of my life. I've been married 20 years. I have 2 amazing kids. Whoever thought a guy like me would have a son at Cal Berkeley, when all I was doing was trying to survive? And what I'm saying is that's defying the narrative. Defying the narrative. And not being, because this is the way it was, this is the way it is. At the end of the day, and it was in one of John's slides, you're commanding the ship. And there's nobody, and I hate to tell you, this might be the worst thing you've heard, but you have no excuse, because everybody in the NSA is not everybody, but someone in the NSA is doing your dream. We have a psychologist right here, right on the screen right now, right? We have another doctor, and we have teachers, and we have everybody from every aspect of life, and that is the greatest thing ever. The greatest thing ever. And just realize, if I could do anything from this workshop today, is make you realize that everything is possible. I'm going to open it up. Pam?
Yes.
I know we're at 6:43. We wanted to do a Q&A. I was going to do breakout room, but maybe we just open it up for the Q&A. Up to you.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. We can just stay in the large group if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I always tell my family, we're a Plan B family. We got to be liquid and fluid.
We already have a hand up.
Okay.
Bill?
Hey, Sebastian.
Yeah.
So Sebastian, I applaud you because I'm in the same situation. I used to have many blocks, and when I began to celebrate and to treat my best friend, or my closest friend, which is myself, things begin to happen. Getting rid of the fear, getting rid of the things, and to just let it all hang out. Since then, I worked as a paramedic, when I was younger. Then I invested in a communication company. I have material all over the country, some places outside the country. And those things happen. I've always admired people who could just get up there and just speak so eloquently and do it on TV. Well, I've done it on TV. And I celebrate other people too. And so it is a dream. And it is one of my first prayers that I've always asked, Lord, please unleash. And it took a while, and I'm still working on it. But I applaud everyone in here. You are so special. You are all a universe that none can compare with, and the world needs you. They need you. It doesn't matter how your speech is or isn't. You are already there. Just let it out. If it takes a while, that's fine. If not, that's fine also. John Stossel, ABC News, is a narrator, and John stuttered. I'm sure some of you know that story, but everybody in the world has seen him. So that's what it's all about. Sebastian, you're cool. You're just, everybody needs to do that. You're all special. When you're done with this, celebrate yourself, talk to your significant other, and because you're already great, you just need to open up, and understand who you are. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. That was awesome.
All right.
Vicky!
Vicky hit mute.
Yeah, Vicky, you're muted.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
All right. I I just wanted to say, Bastion and John, I have known you both and you were were very young men, and I am so impressed and awed and happy to see the powerhouses that you both have become. N- 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 Now that you have grown up, I I love you both dearly, and seeing what you have become just warms my heart.
Thank you. We love you a lot. And this is part of the thing I was talking about. I met Vicky in 1988 and in Houston, and a Houston chapter. And it's just been always great to have these people in your corner, and you grow old together. Not that we're growing old, but I'll fight that until my last breath. Anybody else want to say anything?
All right.
Joel?
What do you think comes first? So, does the attitude towards feeling better about yourself comes first, and then you slowly, gain more what I call not exactly fluency, but more confidence in your speech, and over time, I usually see is the more confident in your speech you become, the reduction in the severity of the stuttering and everything else goes. So overall, what do you think came first, or was it a simultaneous change, that the confidence came simultaneous with the general reduction in the severity of the blocks and your overall stuttering behavior?
I just feel like I got tired of being stuck, and I got tired of looking at Alcatraz, and I could be the biggest bully on the planet, but if the bigger bully than me is beating me up, then I'm just a victim, and I don't want to be a victim anymore. The victim always loses. I don't want to be a victim, and I'd rather, what I'd rather do? I'd rather not. At the end of my life, I want to have a zero regret. And that was always my big thing. At the end of my life, going, God, if I would have only gone for it, whatever it is, I'd rather ask her out and her look at me and laugh, go, well, are you kidding me? Than wonder. I want to know what the outcome is. Willie Mays was this great baseball player, as we all know, and he wrote this book, and I read the book when he was 7 years old. And in 1951, Willie Mays was a Peach Fuzz rookie. He was the rookie, and he was on deck when Robbie Thompson hit the shot around the world, right? And I don't know if you guys ever remember, but the Giants win the pennant, the Yankees win the pennant, right? He was on deck. 25 years later, when he was doing his memoir, he was talking about it, going, You know, when I was the difference between being a rookie and being a superstar, he goes, when I was on deck, I was praying Bobby Thompson would do something so that I wouldn't have to be there with the whole world watching me and the pressure and everything else. Willie Mays said when he became a superstar, he wanted the bat in his hand in every situation. He wanted to be the person in charge of the outcome. Ball, strike, out, home run, single. He wanted to be that. And that's the thing. And at some point, you just get tired. You get fed up. And you want to become, I mean, it's hard to say in a Zoom call, but you want to become the best version of yourself. And by evading and avoiding, you suspend that. In the meantime, the calendar's ticking. So I would just say what really happened to me was it's like I got fed up of wondering what if. And I decided to put the bat in my hands. And then with every success, I built on it.
I think it starts by claiming it for yourself. This is mine. This is what I want to happen, and I am going to make it happen. Claim it.
Like you got one shot at this thing called life. You know, in my case, I have more yesterdays than tomorrows, and I want every freaking day to matter. You know, I literally take no days off. Like I want every day. It's the greatest. Time is the greatest currency. Time is everything, and it's finite. Time is everything, and to waste time, like you will never ever hear me say, "I'm just killing time." I don't kill time. You know, I spend time. I invest in time. I want to have a good time. I don't kill time. You know, and I just think that's the most important thing. And when you live life with urgency, I think you have the best life around. You're not waiting around.
Travis?
Sure. I just wanted to kind of, well, a lot of what Sebastian said was, encouraging to a lot of us, but it kind of went along with some things that I had, kind of figured out today. Like he said, avoiding, and I forgot the other term, but avoiding was a big thing. Well, in 2023, I graduated with a degree to get into the IT industry. And for the longest time, I had been kind of like holding off on taking this exam to kind of really jumpstart into doing all that. And for months and months, probably about a year or longer now, I'd been avoiding, taking this exam to try and take that next step. And then this afternoon, in my own thinking, I was going to say, you know what, this Christmas, I'm going to pay for that exam. I'm going to go do that. And if I'd fail, that time it's just a learning experience. I can do it again. So the exam's always going to be there, but it's going to be up to me to go and I have to go and take that next step for me. So, what he said today, waiting and avoiding is just kind of resonated with me because it's been what I've been doing for such a long time now. So at the beginning of 2026, I'm going to be trying to take that next step. So I just appreciate, all those words, Sebastian, tonight.
Can I switch one word out? In 2026, let's not try, let's do. And every day is an action. Every day is an action. Whether it's a resume, whether it's what, every day is an action. Every day,
Yep.
every day, And if you know what, and if you need me to be a sounding board and be that buddy, I'll hold you to it.
I was going to say at the
because I want you to succeed and you want you to succeed. And I get
Right.
it, man. That's what the whole part about you getting out of your head into the world. When you're in the world, the freaking magic happens.
Yep. So if I see you at the 2026 conference, I hope to be able to first thing I hope I can tell you is that I passed that test.
I'm rooting for you, and we're all rooting for you.
Yeah. Sayun? I probably didn't say that right. Apologies ahead of time.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Pamela. Well, I was able to hear about what you were saying, like what you're saying, s- mm, s- what you were saying, mm, Sebastian, and mm, and I've and 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 like and I would have to say that I faced that I faced the I mean, I faced the German like I can I faced the I faced the German test like from more than more than 3 times and all and like every single time I actually failed it, but it was for a completely different reason entirely for a completely different reason. Now I'm hoping that I'm I mean I'm hoping that with the move with that I would be able to pass the to pass the mm, to pass the pass the German test. I mean, hopefully on my 16th try, and as you actually and as you said, as you said, Sebastian, I mean, it is not a matter of trying to. mm, it is not a matter of trying to mm, 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 trying to. Mm,
Cliff?
Yes, thank you, Pam. Also, I don't know if I know Sebastian yet, but it's really nice to meet you. Very, very inspirational. I guess I'll introduce myself. This is the first time I've come into one of these larger chat rooms, but I've been going to Stutter Social a good bit. I live in Georgia, and I've been a member of the NSA since 1995. I was actually the president of the chapter in Atlanta from 95 to 98. It's been a long time ago, but Sebastian, I was going to say your sports analogy was great. Your talk about Willie Mays, and yeah, that's a good point there. And one thing I've tried to tell myself that kind of ties into what you were saying is I think I've always had a big worry or a fear of losing. And so my dad taught me when I was young that baseball is a great example of, the batter loses. The game always wins. I mean, if you bat 30%, you're doing great. So I've always tried to tell myself that I'm going to lose sometimes, maybe more times than not. So anyway, I just wanted to add that on. That's one thing that's helped me a lot to take charge. Is just not the fear of losing. I used to have this thought that every loss was a total failure, and then I think of baseball, and that's how life is. I mean, we're probably going to have more losses than wins. But anyway, I just wanted to add that in just as a little thing that I've used in the past. I like to compare it to baseball. Like I'm going to lose at times, but don't worry about it. Just, you keep on getting up to bat. So
Amen.
anyway, thank
Swinging.
you. This has been very, very inspirational. I'm really very happy I joined the talk tonight.
Glad you're here. Somebody wrote, I'm trying to find what they wrote about. Oh yeah, any tips from Sage Harger? I might have any tips on how to get over shame and negative reactions about stuttering you get from other people? Nobody talks about this, and it's something that is really, really important for me to talk about. I think we need to have compassion and understanding for the fluent community. Think about in our lives, not at NSA meetings and NSA Connects. How many people do we randomly meet who stutter? Right? Everybody everywhere every day is talking, and they're talking fluently, and they're talking a mile a minute, and they're getting the thing. It's such an anomaly to hear somebody who stutters that the listener doesn't really know what to do. Doesn't really know what to do. But this is our cross to fall on. Oh my God, they're mimicking us. I will go to my grave believing human beings are good. I'm going to tell you a story. And when I went to the convention when I was 23 years old, and went to that convention, and I walked into the frickin' room and I saw 500 stutterers, and Russ Hicks was one of the first people I saw, and he had the severe stutter. You know what I did? I laughed, I smiled. Part of it was I was home, but two, it was such a freaking anomaly. Like, what planet am I on where everybody stutters? Was I being insensitive? Was I being mean? Was I being ununderstanding? No, it was just so foreign for me to hear somebody else who stutters. And I believe, and I will tell you again, I will go to my grave believing that the human condition is good. And I don't think people are sitting there. I mean, maybe if you're 12 years old, and 13 years old, and you're making fun of everybody, right? But I don't really believe that in most cases that people are, yeah, you get the occasional a-hole, right? But just as a whole thing, I think we need to be a little bit more understanding, because it's such an anomaly, and you don't know what to do when you're blocking. It might not seem like it. Sometimes I have some monstrous blocks. You know what I mean? Like, the listener doesn't know what's going on. And then in my case, and people that are milder stutterers, they're like, "Are you okay? Breathing?" And they'll make a joke of it because they're just not used to it, because it hasn't happened within the context of the conversation. So that's my one thing I would really say. Just like, it's so hard, but have compassion on those. Forgive them, Father, for they do not know what they're doing.
Yeah. We are over time, but we do have two hands up. So I do want to honor that, if that's okay with people. And then we're probably going to need to gear towards winding down this amazing conversation we've had tonight. Sayun, I apologize that we didn't get to hear your complete thought, but please go ahead.
Okay, so as I was saying to, I was as I was as I was saying to you, Sebastian, like, I feel now. I feel. Let me see. Like, I hope that doesn't. I hope that that the time around. I just hope that I'll be able to pass the to pass the to pass my to pass my driving test, because because like because because that is what my since deceased second eldest brother would have actually wanted me to do. I mean, and I and it was and it was just and and it has and it has somehow and seeing as how and seeing as how my 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 second eldest brother had 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 died, like I just want to figure out a way as to how I could I could I could I could perchance honor him honor him in 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 some gremlin of a way, or or an or or another. Mm, mm, and and I just hope I just hope I have the I just hope I have the courage the courage touching fluent since how I faced the driving test five different times.
Yeah, I think you have the courage. I think being here is having the courage, and I would just continue that, um, and honor him.
Yeah. I had noticed one more hand, but he's not raised. His hand is not up now. But Honor, did you want to share something as and be our final word?
That's all right. Just I didn't pay attention. We are over time. So next time I can share my thoughts. That's okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Is that
Well, John, Sebastian, this has been a wonderful session tonight. You shared so many amazing gems with us, and it was really a great session. And I thank you both for the hard work that you put into putting this together for us. And I want to thank you all for attending tonight's session. There's some great comments in the chat session, and this really was an inspiring session tonight. This has been recorded. The recording will be available for later viewing, probably by the end of the year. And again, I thank you all for attending, and John and Sebastian, thanks for such a wonderful job. Thank you all.